everyone, welcome back to Savvy Looks, where I like to take outdated or damaged secondhand furniture and give it a whole new life. This week I'm working on this mid-century lane end table that I found on the side of the road. I loved this style as it was, but it did have some damage. The top had some deep gouges and scratches. My goal for this piece was just to revitalize it and bring it back to its former glory without changing the style. I started by taking off the hardware and cleaning everything with a degreasing cleaner and then rinsing it all back with water. This was especially helpful because this piece was caked in dirt and grime, so it was helpful for me to see what was dirt and what was actually damage. I decided that the only part of this piece that I really needed to refinish completely was the top because it had some really deep gouges that I was hoping to sort of minimize. So I laid some tape around the edges and applied a chemical stripper across the entire top. Next, I covered it with saran wrap while it activated, and then after about 10 or 15 minutes, I came back and tried to scrape the excess stain off of the top. My next step was sanding. I used my 5x5 Ryobe Orbital sander to do this. A couple important things to note here was first that this piece had a thin layer of veneer over the top. Veneer is basically a thin layer of wood that is placed over either another piece of wood or a different material to give it a really nice wood grain. Overall, veneer is great, but the problem is because it's so thin, you can run into the issue of sanding through the veneer if you sand too much. This was a bit of a challenge because I was trying to sand some deep scratches out of the surface, but I did the best I could. Another thing that's important is that I used progressively finer and finer grit sandpaper, starting around 120 and working my way up to about 400. This is what gives you that really smooth wood finish and avoids getting any of those sanding swirls. My goal was to match the color of the wood on the top to the color of the rest of the piece. I started by using a gel stain called Tennessee Whiskey by Lilly Moon Paint. The good thing about this stain is it's water-based and you can build up multiple layers of it. So I decided to do several layers, and then later you'll see I went back with an oil stain over top just to further get that color right. I also used this and other oil stains on any of the scratches on the rest of the piece, which helped revitalize the wood and make it look new. At this point, while the color was close to right, it still wasn't quite dark enough, so I decided to go back with an oil stain called Early American over top of my already stained wood. An important thing to mention is that I waited until my first Tennessee Whiskey stain to be fully dry because it's water-based and this stain is oil-based, you don't want there to be any sort of reaction between the two. I did also use the same stain on the rest of the piece to revitalize the wood. Next, I needed to seal the top, so I used Dixie Belle's Gator Hide top coat. This is one of the most durable water-based top coats there is, so it's always one of my favorites. Another important thing to note, I did again wait until the oil-based stain was fully dry before applying this water-based top coat. I applied 3 coats in total. The hardware was already in good condition, but I decided just to clean it up even more using some Barkeeper's Friend. One of my favorite steps, I applied Howard's Feed and Wax using my Dixie Belle La Petite wax brush to the inside and sides of the drawers and the drawer rails. This freshens everything up, leaves it with a nice scent, and helps the drawer slide even better. One more look at where the side of the road end table started. And here it is now. I hope you enjoyed this project. I was glad that I was able to keep the mid-century design and style of this piece and save such a cool piece of furniture from the trash. If you liked this video, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And thank you so much for watching.